Hello guys. So I'm gonna be reading from James 2, 14 to 24, and just kind of talking about faith and deeds. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself is not accompanied by action. Faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is deed. But someone will say, "You have faith, I have deeds." Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. You foolish person, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless? Was not our father Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see that his faith and his actions were working together, and his faith was made complete by what he did. And the scripture was fulfilled that says, "Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. And he was called God's friend." You see that a person is considered righteous by what they do, and not by faith alone. And so I actually used the first part of that, 14 through 17, in a class of mine recently, and it just kind of stuck with me. Because I feel like a lot of times we feel like we don't have to do anything, right? Like we think that we just get by because we believe, and that's all that we need. But it clearly says here, you have to have there needs to be more to your faith. Like your faith needs to be seen by other people, and not from you putting, "I'm a Christian" as your Facebook status or something. It's your actions. It's the way that you live your life. It's the way that you carry yourself. It's the way that you treat other people. And I feel like we're at a time where a lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people will say that they're Christians. A lot of people will, say that they, love all people, that they love, even those who they don't, agree with. But their actions show very different things. Um, you can sit here and say, for example, that you're pro-life or something, but then if your idea of that entire word, that phrase pro-life, that should extend to all aspects of life, not just where you think it should. And so if you say that you're pro-life, but then you just walk past a homeless person, you don't do anything, you don't, are you living into that? And I would say probably not, according to this, right? Um, you have to embody what you claim that you believe. So if you say that if you say that, I'm trying to think of things that aren't super triggering, but you know what, let's just do it. Say if you say all lives matter to someone that says Black Lives Matter, well, what are you really saying? Are you really paying attention to what, the Black Lives Matter is supposed to be? Are you actually paying attention to that? Are you actually looking at that? Or are you just hearing that and getting triggered and just saying, "Well, no, this is," and you're not paying any attention? And so while you could totally say that with good intentions, if you're not thinking about it, if you're not actively acting in a way and pursuing a life that shows that to other people, like, you really shouldn't be surprised if people call you out and say, well, you're not getting it. You're actually being a part of the problem right now. You're not helping anything. And I think just kind of in a general sense, like, if you say that you're a Christian and you tell somebody that you're going to pray for them about something, but you also know that you could do, like, in that particular situation, there's something that you could do more of, right? There's something more that you could provide to that person, but you decide, well, all I have to do is just pray for them, tell them that I'm praying for them, and everything's going to be great. Again, this passage is pretty clear. Like, if you don't have any actions, like, people say that prayer is an action, and, like, I think to an extent it is. But if there's more that you could do, and you're just settling to pray for someone, you're just settling to tell someone that you're thinking of them, I would argue that you're kind of the person that this passage is talking to. I would say that you have to kind of re-examine what you are doing with your faith. Because if you're just sitting there, and, like, I'm totally guilty of this too, like, if you just sit there, and somebody goes like, oh, I'm going through, like, a rough time, and I don't know what to do, and there's things that you could do to help them. You could call them, you could talk to them, you could, there's just all sorts of things that you could do, especially in this age where everyone's, a button press away pretty much. And so if all you do for someone is pray for them because you feel like that's all that you need to do. Now, there's, like, notice how I said need. There's definitely situations where you're not going to be equipped to help someone. And when you're in those situations, like, yeah, that's okay. It's okay to just pray for them because that's what you're equipped to do. But there's also situations where you're going to be equipped to do a lot more. And when you're that equipped, like, when you're equipped for the situation and you still just settle to pray, you just settle, thoughts and prayers type stuff, you aren't helping them, you aren't helping yourself, and you're not fully living into your faith, which is another thing that I've kind of picked up on in this passage, is that faith and deed, faith and action, they go hand in hand. Like, you need you need both. You can't have one without the other. And I think that's a really important thing to take away from this. I mean, like, because to kind of paraphrase this passage, even a demon could say thoughts and prayers, right? Even a demon could pretend to pray. But at the end of the day, you have to be better than that. You have to do more than that. And I think in a lot of ways, as a whole, we've kind of been, I don't want to say that we've necessarily been taught, but I feel like in some situations that is the case, that we don't have to put our faith into action, right? Like, we can just get by with the bare minimum. But life isn't college. Life isn't like I can just get C's and a couple D's and still do okay. Life is something where you need to put in more effort. And people will say, like, well, college is life, but college is grades. College is showing up to class and you do the bare minimum and you still pass. Sometimes in life you do the bare minimum and you're not doing good. like at all, right? And so that's kind of where my heart's been on this, and just kind of in thinking about just things going on in the world and the way that people are approaching them. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about this passage. And there's more to this passage if you want to look. Like there's another little section, but I felt like it's kind of about the same, is kind of in the same vein, but it's just kind of talking about righteousness. And yeah, just really it's definitely like a harder thing to do, obviously, to act on your faith, which is kind of the point, I think, because it's really easy to just pray, right? It's really easy to do the things that aren't action. And so I just hope that hearing this, that you're all encouraged to put your faith into action and put your faith into practice. Just instead of, just trying to do the bare minimum, like think, what else could I do? How else could I help in this situation? Where is my voice needed? Where is my voice necessary? I think is a big one too. Like sometimes we try to lend our voices to situations that we think that we know about, that we think that we have knowledge of, but then we say things and it doesn't fit, right? It doesn't work, because we don't have knowledge, we don't of that situation, and we need to really like discern that as we go, and also just again going back to putting our faith into practice and putting our faith into action.